Let's start here. Some people get broken by what they go through. Nelson Mandela didn't. He took 27 years in prison, humiliation, loss, and injustice, and turned it into clarity, discipline, and a commitment to healing a whole nation. Welcome back to Historical Figure Deconstruction. Today we're unpacking how Mandela turned suffering into strength, and how you can use the same principles to face your own battles, without becoming bitter, hard, or numb. First, let's step into his world for a moment. Mandela was born under a system built to crush him, apartheid South Africa. The rules were stacked: where he could live, what he could do, who he could marry, even which doors he could walk through. He didn't start as a saint. He was ambitious, angry, and ready to fight. At different points, he supported peaceful resistance and armed struggle. But the state had more power, more weapons, and more control. Eventually, they put him on trial, painted him as a terrorist, and locked him away, first for life. Here's where this gets real. Most people in that situation would shrink, get silent, or spend the rest of their lives replaying every injustice. Mandela made a different move. If he couldn't change his outer world, he would master his inner world. That decision is where leadership really starts. Now let's talk about suffering, because Mandela didn't romanticize it. Prison was rough. Hard labor, cold conditions, limited contact with his family, minimal rights. He had every reason to hate. And he did feel anger, he did feel pain, he did feel loss. But here's the turning point. He refused to let those emotions decide who he became. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" he shifted the question to, "Who do I choose to become because of this?" That's a powerful shift. It doesn't deny the pain. It doesn't excuse the injustice. But it moves you from victim to builder, someone who can shape meaning out of hard things. Mandela used prison as training for patience, training for discipline, training for listening, training for leading a country that was going to need someone bigger than revenge. Let's move to one of his most surprising strengths, his ability to hold his anger without letting it own him. Mandela never claimed he wasn't angry. He admitted it openly. He just refused to let anger be his operating system. He understood something critical. If he came out of prison driven by revenge, he would simply build a new version of the same broken system, with different people on top. So he did something most people never do. He separated justice from vengeance. Justice says we must fix what was wrong. Vengeance says, I want you to feel what I felt. Mandela chose justice over vengeance, firmness over softness, but healing over payback. And this is where it connects to you. You are going to be wronged in life, by systems, by people, by circumstances. The question is not, will it hurt? It will. The real question is, what will that hurt turn you into? Someone harder and smaller, or someone clearer and bigger? Mandela shows the second path is possible. But it's not automatic. It's built. Now let's talk about one of his most underrated skills, listening. When he finally walked out of prison, he didn't come out swinging blindly. He came out listening to angry black South Africans who wanted payback, to fearful white South Africans who thought they were about to be erased, to business leaders, workers, and communities who had no idea what would come next. He could have taken sides and weaponized the pain. Instead, he absorbed it, held it, and used it to design something bigger than either group's fear. That's one of the highest forms of leadership, being able to sit in a room where everyone is scared, angry, or defensive, and not be swallowed by it. He said with his presence, "I see your pain, I hear your fear, but I refuse to let either one write our future." That's leadership that heals instead of just winning. So how do we bring this down into your daily life? You may not be leading a country, but you are leading something: yourself, your family, your team, your future. Here are some Mandela-inspired moves you can use right now. First, when something painful happens, don't rush to label the whole story. Instead of saying, "This ruined everything," try, "This is hard, and I get to choose what this turns me into." It sounds simple, but it keeps your identity from being defined by one moment. Second, create private space to process your pain. Mandela had long stretches of time where he thought, reflected, and talked with other imprisoned leaders. You might not have that kind of time, but you can claim 10 to 15 minutes a day to journal honestly. Not in social media posts, not in public rants, but in private reflection. Third, separate justice from revenge in your own heart. Ask yourself, do I want things to be right, or do I want them to hurt? If your main goal is someone else's pain, you're not building. You're mirroring the very thing that hurt you. Fourth, practice inclusive vision. Mandela constantly imagined a South Africa where different races could live, work, and build together. Your version might be a workplace, a family, a project, or a community. Who needs to be part of the future you're building? Even if right now you don't fully trust them, that doesn't mean ignoring risk. It means refusing to build your future on fear alone. To really see the impact of Mandela's choices, think about this. He went into prison labeled a threat. He walked out and within a few years became president. He had the full power of the state behind him at last. A lesser man would have used that power to crush his enemies. Mandela used it to build a fragile peace, truth and reconciliation instead of mass revenge. Power sharing instead of total domination. Listening, negotiating, and yes, drawing firm lines where he had to, but always with the goal of a future larger than his own story. That's suffering transformed into strength. That's leadership turned into healing. So here's your move as we close. Think of one situation in your life right now where you feel wronged, overlooked, or blocked. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, ask, what kind of person do I want to become because of this? Then take one simple step in that direction. Maybe it's having a calmer conversation instead of a fight. Maybe it's giving someone a second chance. Maybe it's focusing on what you can build instead of what you can destroy. Nelson Mandela's life sends a clear message. You don't always get to choose your suffering, but you always get to choose what it turns you into. And that choice, that inner decision, is where real leadership begins.